The Love is Blind Season 10 reunion just ended, and in the space of one single episode, we got a divorce, a secret marriage, a baby announcement, a new engagement, a new relationship, Amber storming off that stage with a curse word that the entire internet already has on repeat, and Chris Fusco getting absolutely grilled in front of everyone. One episode. All of that. This was not a reunion. This was a reckoning, and we are going through every single shocking moment right now in the order it happened, so you have the full picture of everything that just went down. If you are still processing, you are in exactly the right place. Stay with me because this one takes some unpacking. And if you are new here, this channel covers reality TV with full receipts and zero sugarcoating every single time. Subscribe and hit the bell because after a reunion like this, we are going to have a lot more to talk about. Now let us get into it. First, a quick reminder of where this season stood going into tonight. 7 couples got engaged. 4 made it to the altar. Vic and Christine said yes and got married. Amber and Jordan said yes and got married. Mike said no to Emma over the kids issue. Ashley cut Alex off mid-vow and called him a liar in front of both their families. And Devonta ended things with Brittany before they even got to wedding day. That was the finale scorecard 1 week ago. And by the time tonight's reunion ended, almost none of those storylines looked the same. Nick and Vanessa Lachey hosted. The entire Ohio cast was present, and from the very first segment, it was clear that nobody in that room had fully moved on from anything. Let us start with the moment everyone came to see, Chris Fusco. Nick Lachey went directly at him. No warm-up, no preamble. Just straight into the Pilates comment, the CrossFit comment, the behavior at the cast mixer where he approached Bri while she was engaged to Connor, and the way he handled himself in the group settings after his breakup with Jessica. Chris sat there with longer hair and a different outfit than any episode this season, like a man who knew he had about 90 minutes of camera time to rehabilitate an image that the internet destroyed the second that Pilates clip went viral. And what he gave Nick was a sentence that is going to follow him for a while. He said he is not proud of a lot of those moments. Not proud of a lot of those moments. Not an apology, not a specific acknowledgement of what was wrong. A general expression of retrospective discomfort delivered to the man who was wronged by him in front of millions of people with absolutely zero specificity. And then there was the hot mic. During the reunion filming, Chris was caught on a live microphone making a comment about Bri. Connor heard it. Connor reacted. And the contrast between Chris sitting there being vague about his accountability and Connor having to hear something about his wife from the same man who hit on her during filming was one of the more uncomfortable segments of the entire episode. Jessica, for her part, was extraordinary. She sat across from Chris looking like someone who has done every single piece of the work required to fully move past an experience that publicly humiliated her. She said the reality of what happened between them was very different from what was shown on the series. She did not beg for understanding. She did not over-explain. She was fully, composedly herself. And she announced that she is now in a new relationship with Haramol, another Ohio single who was in the experiment this season. She walked into that reunion with a new relationship and what the internet is already calling a revenge dress situation, and walked out looking like the clear winner of this entire season. Chris did not recover his reputation tonight. He confirmed it. Now let us talk about the moment that is already being called the most emotionally charged of the entire reunion. Amber Morrison and Jordan Faith got legally married at the altar on April 9th, 2025. They said their vows in front of their families. Jordan met Amber's young daughter Emma the day before the wedding, and by all appearances on camera, they were a couple that had worked through the hard stuff and made it. Tonight, Amber confirmed they are divorced. This is the first time in American Love is Blind history that a couple who legally married on the show has ever announced a divorce at a reunion episode. It has happened on the UK version. It has never happened in the United States. Until tonight. The conversation on that stage was charged from the beginning. Amber did not come to tonight's reunion to be composed for Jordan's benefit. She came to tell the truth. And at a certain point during their exchange, she stood up, cursed, and walked off that stage. Not because she was broken, because she had said everything she came to say, and she was done performing composure in a room full of people after everything she had been through. That moment is going to be one of the most replayed scenes in this franchise's history. Not because it was explosive, because it was true. Amber Morrison walked into that reunion with a divorce to announce, and she announced it on her own terms. What happened between them in those 3 to 4 months after the wedding? The full details are still emerging. What we know is that Jordan reportedly left in a way that Amber felt was not handled with the care that a person who had just married you in front of your child and your families deserved. And whatever conversations happened in that room tonight between them, Amber walked off that stage making it very clear that she had heard enough. Now let us talk about the twist that had the internet in absolute chaos within minutes of the episode starting. Bri McNeese and Connor Spees ended their relationship before the finale. Bri told Connor he was a lesson, not the love of her life, in a line that was one of the more devastating sentences of the entire season. And in the finale, Connor sat alone and made no apologies for any of his choices. Here is where things get complicated. A Hamilton County, Ohio marriage license was discovered before the reunion, showing that Bri and Connor signed paperwork to tie the knot on March 28, 2025. Their full legal names and occupations are on that document. But, according to Reality Steve, who has been consistently accurate on spoilers this season, Bri and Connor said at the reunion that they are not married. They said they are working on their relationship. The explanation appears to be this. In Ohio, a marriage license is not the same as a completed marriage certificate. Signing the license means you intended to get married. The official certificate is completed after the actual ceremony takes place. And based on what Bri and Connor said tonight, they signed that license, but have not yet had their wedding. So the situation is this. They broke up on the show, they got back together after filming, they took out a marriage license together in Ohio, and they are now working on their relationship with the apparent intention of getting married at some point when they are ready to do it on their own terms. That is still one of the most romantic stories to come out of this franchise. Two people who could not make it work on camera, finding their way back to each other the moment the cameras were gone, and choosing to do this quietly, at their own pace, without a Netflix production timeline driving the moment. The internet's reaction when this segment aired was enormous, because regardless of the technical status of the certificate, the story of Bri and Connor is the one that has genuine heart, and tonight confirmed they are still choosing each other. Let us talk about Devonta and Brittany, because this update landed hard even for people who knew it was coming. Devonta and Brittany never made it to the altar. Devonta ended things before the wedding week in a way that left the audience divided on whether he had been fair to Brittany throughout the process. The detail about Brittany buying her wedding dress before the pods even opened was something he said he could not move past. Tonight, Devonta confirmed he is engaged and expecting a child with someone new, someone he met after filming Wrapped. That timeline, going from a broken engagement on a reality show to a new engagement and a baby announcement in under a year, is one that generated an enormous amount of conversation in the room and on social media simultaneously. Brittany handled it on stage, but there is no version of sitting in that reunion chair and hearing that announcement that does not carry real weight. And the audience felt it with her. Now let us go to the two moments that gave the room some air. Mike and Emma. The altar moment where Mike said no because of the kids' question was one of the most emotionally complicated scenes of the entire season. Mike loved Emma. Mike was not ready to commit to a family he was not certain Emma fully wanted, and he stood there in his wedding clothes and said it out loud in the hardest possible setting. At the reunion, their conversation was exactly what you would expect from two people who genuinely cared about each other and could not make one fundamental thing align. Mike has moved on and is reportedly in a new relationship. Emma was gracious. The conversation between them was honest and kind in equal measure, which is actually a rare thing at a Love is Blind reunion, where most conversations involve at least one person performing something. And then Vic and Christine walked in and gave the entire room a moment to breathe. These two are still married, still together, coming up on a full year. Vic wearing a matching brown ensemble with Christine, which the internet immediately noticed and immediately loved. And according to the reunion, TurboTax sponsored a honeymoon for them after they were left out of the Mexico cast trip due to the show not having enough budget to include all couples in the international getaway. They are the proof of concept. They are the reason people keep watching this show, even when everything else burns down around it. And tonight, they were exactly that. Ashley and Alex got their moment too. Ashley stood by every word she said at the altar. Alex presented his version. Neither of them convinced the other. And the audience, which has been split on this storyline since the wedding episode aired, left the reunion still split. Which is probably the most honest possible outcome for two people whose accounts of the same relationship are so fundamentally different that no amount of couch time on a reunion stage was ever going to bridge them. Hot take. And I am saying this directly. The Love is Blind Season 10 reunion was the most honest episode this show has ever produced. Not the most dramatic, not the most explosive, the most honest. Because every single person on that stage tonight came with the truth. Amber did not pretend her marriage was complicated. She said it was over, and she said it standing up. Jessica did not pretend the Pilates situation was something she had fully recovered from in private. She brought her new relationship, her composure, and her truth into that room and let it speak for her. Devonta did not hedge his baby announcement. He said it. Bri and Connor did not pretend they had a clean, happily ever after. They said they are working on it, which is more honest than most people ever are on camera. And Chris said he is not proud of a lot of those moments, which, compared to every other person on that stage tonight, was the least honest sentence of the entire episode. Drop this in the comments right now. Out of every single person on that stage tonight, who came out of the reunion looking the best in your opinion? And I am not asking who had the most dramatic moment. I am asking who handled themselves with the most integrity when it actually counted. Because my answer is very clear, and I want to see if this audience lands in the same place. So here is the complete Love is Blind Season 10 reunion scoreboard. The first ever divorce announcement in American Love is Blind history. Amber and Jordan done after 3 to 4 months. Amber walked off that stage on her own terms, and the internet already has the clip on loop. Jessica arrived in a new relationship with a revenge energy that required 0 words. Chris confirmed his reputation. Devonta announced a baby and a new engagement. Bri and Connor are working on their relationship with a marriage license already signed in Ohio. Vic and Christine are still married, still happy, and got a TurboTax-sponsored honeymoon because they deserved at least that much. Mike moved on. Ashley stood her ground. Alex still does not fully agree with how it ended. 7 engaged, 4 at the altar, 1 divorce, 1 marriage license, 1 baby, 1 new engagement, 1 revenge dress, 1 hot mic, and one man who said he is not proud of a lot of those moments and somehow thought that was going to be enough. Love is blind, and tonight proved it absolutely, completely, in every possible direction. Like this video if it helped you process everything that just happened. Subscribe if you are new, because we are going to be talking about this season for a long time, and there is still more to unpack. And I will see you in the next one.